after the problems of preparing for the two previous internationals this year, Glenn Hoddle has had far less stress over the past few days, with the team fixed in his mind, the one he's actually able to field. David Seaman and Tony Adams able to form part of the spine of the team. They've not played since Georgia away. Alan Shearer and Teddy Sheringham in tandem for the first time since Euro '96. Places for Gary Neville, Sol Campbell and David Beckham, who all missed the Mexico match. But the man of that match, Rob Lee, stays in the side. It's his first competitive international at the expense of Steve McManaman.
Well, when you look at this lineup, it's strong, it's powerful and it's talented. It's got the flexibility. We have the back three in here with Neville, Adams and Campbell. We think that's how they'll start to have a look at Georgia. But Graham Lasso can play in there and he can play as a back four if they want to go with four at the back. It's in midfield where I think it looks very good. Batty will no doubt be the holding player. And what that'll do, allow Paul Ince, I think, to have more freedom in his play, to get forward, along with Rob Lee, to get up ahead, to go off Alan Shearer. So much so that when Sheringham picks up the ball deep, don't be surprised to see Lee, don't be surprised to see Ince, both going forward, looking to pick off little drops off of Alan Shearer. But when they get it wide, and these are important areas, Lasso and Beckham, and I mean up here in the top half, good quality on that side. If they can deliver good quality into the box, I've no doubt they can harm them.
Well, Georgia have a new coach. It's David Kipiani's second game in charge, but he's kept the nucleus of the team that were beaten by England almost 6 months ago, 8 of them in fact, including Kinkladze, the pride of Manchester City, and Ketz Bayer, who's involved in talks with Newcastle. But they've had to make a late significant change, losing an important defender, Lobjanidze, who's ill. Number 6, Machabariani, got a very late call-up.
Machabariani is a one to watch, man. We know he is a sweeper. We've got him in here, but don't be surprised to see him just drop in there and play at the back behind this four, who I don't, certainly early in the game, expect to be too adventurous. But when you look at that side, there's real talent in there. There's no doubt about that.
And Georgia come here, in fact, on the back of their biggest ever win in their short international history, 7-0 over Armenia last month. That was an emphatic start to Kipiani's reign as coach, but they're still looking for their first World Cup point, and indeed for their first World Cup goal. A warm night at Wembley, certainly for the time of year, and England trying to turn it into a productive night to bounce back from what happened here in February, when there were mitigating circumstances. And certainly the absence of players like Adams and Seaman. Shearer wasn't fully fit. No one's making excuses from the England management, but it wasn't ideal. Beckham. Here's Gary Neville. Across comes Skardadze, the Georgian captain, who was linked back in November time when we were in Tbilisi with a move to Manchester City to link up with Kinkladze, but it didn't happen. He went on to join the club in Russia. Shearer, but wherever you play, you know about Alan Shearer and his reputation, and the way he thrives on responsibility, of which there is plenty for him to shoulder tonight. Forward from Adams. Beckham got a glancing touch on from Shearer, a bit too long for Sheringham. And then Sadze. 9 is Ketz Bayer, a player interesting at Newcastle United. Beckham fighting in for England. Oh, it was a nervy swipe at the ball by Shalia. But Georgia got away with it.
I just wondered, Martin, whether Georgia would actually go man for man, put someone on Alan Shearer and follow him all around. I don't think they've started like that. I think that'll please Alan.
Well, if there is a job to be handed out, it might be Shalia, the number 4. Kinkladze. Here's Sol Campbell and Graham Lasso. That's fine. No doubt that Georgia will enjoy the conditions here more than their own pitch in Tbilisi, which was not really up to international standard when England played there. Helped England smother the midfield and rather stifle Georgia before going on to take advantage of defensive lapses to win the game with what I think most judges would reckon to be the best performance so far under Glenn Hoddle. It was an emphatic win, a thoroughly professional performance. Patty and Ince were very influential in that game, if you like, in a slightly negative way, but there's certainly some suggestion that Paul Ince will be let off the leash tonight. Batty will hold, and Ince, who pushed forward to good effect to earn a penalty here last month against Mexico, will get that licence to roam in this England system that he very rarely got under Terry Venables.
Yeah, I think that's a certainty tonight.
Or so. The movement here comes from Rod Lee. Sheringham and Shearer are in the centre. And the ball is in the centre as well. Sticky legs, he got his head to it. Here is Ince slipping as he shot. And he's annoyed with himself.
That wasn't easy. Surface has got a greasy top on it. Not a great defensive header for Shikeladze, I have to say. But that's so promising to see Rob Lee make that late run, get forward in a really good area. That's the kind of areas where you want crosses coming from. You've got Sheringham, you've got Shearer. You want crosses coming in from there. Just a little bit too much weight on it. Not a great defensive header. Wasn't easy for Paulus, so.
Header by Shalia. Batty moving on. Sheringham's header down, looking for Shearer. Ince goes to grounding and what a free kick. And the referee, all the officials incidentally, come from France tonight. Referee Remy Arel not giving England a chance to strike from a set piece. Out comes Seaman to claim Kimpelsi's cross. And the crowd welcoming him back.
Tell you what that was, though, Mark, that was a lovely break from Georgia. The free kick could easily have been given on the edge of their own 18-yard box, but when it wasn't, they broke so quickly. Just a measure of the quality they have.
I think the under-21 game last night showed the fighting spirit. A young country, Georgia, of course. Independence in 1991. They've always had a great club, Dinamo Tbilisi. Most of these players, one way or another, have been connected with that setup. But when the internationals were for the Soviet Union, they never quite felt that passion on the wider front. That was understandable. But now there's a real flag to fight for, and they certainly gave the England under-21 team a tough time last night in a game that finished goalless. And David Kipiani comes from a great generation of Tbilisi players who had plenty of success against English clubs in a European context. Lasso with the throw. Tottenham's Sol Campbell. Adams. Long for Shearer to fight for. The goalkeeper's come with a fist that could have gone straight to Beckham. It was just to his left. He couldn't control it. Another free kick England want that they're not going to get. Ince again beating the ground in frustration. But the goalkeeper didn't look too convincing coming for the aerial ball, and he didn't have the best of times when felt against England back in November.
Well, if he did one thing, he got to it. And I think that was the main thing. Halfway there, I wasn't sure whether he was actually going to beat Alan Shearer.
And then Sadze turning into the challenge, which was late from Batty. Skadadze, who hasn't done too much training since Georgia came to England. They actually were here Friday morning. So they've had a longer build-up in this country than Glenn Hoddle's players. Rousseau. Not quite for Shearer, but the type of cross that he thrives on. Beckham trying to supply something similar from the other side. Ketspire. They're very confident in possession, but hustled out of their stride by Batty's typical tenacity.
That was a little unlucky, Gary Neville. His cross just drifted out, but Lasso's was an absolute peach. I think Shearer, you know, just got a touch on that before Shearer. But he won't be too unhappy if he sees Graham Lasso making great strides into that area all night.
Well, Ketspire with those Newcastle connections. Mrs. Dalglish and McDermott will probably tell you they're here to watch Alan Shearer, David Batty and Rob Lee. They may have an eye on England's opponents tonight as well. Highly what a good spirit there's been in the England setup over the past few days. Alan Shearer very much a focal figure in that. And the focal figure as the ball drops from Adams. Attempted pass. Kinkladze, known more than most Georgians to all of you. Picking out Ketspire, and England have to backpedal here. That's a very good movement involving Nemstadze and also the main striker Arveladze.
That again is a super break, great football. What great defender from Sol Campbell. So Arveladze's run and just falls him beautifully.
Very little for Glenn Hoddle to work on in anticipating how Georgia would field their personnel. He knows the players, but not the tactics with the change of coach, of course. Similar to what happened when Maldini brought Italy here, of course. Nemstadze. This is Jamaraouli, one of the senior midfield men. Kinkladze. Just moving from left to centre. There's no one wide of Kinkladze as he looks in that direction. Now there's some movement from Arveladze. And the flag did go up, although the ball didn't get that far forward.
Well, Kinkladze started this move. Look how many white shirts he attracts over. Too many players attracted. And Ketspire, who's taken up a great positions as this game started. But watch the run from Arveladze. And that's a super piece of defending from Sol Campbell. Absolutely first class. Because that was a move of real quality.
Skardadze with the defensive header. A player who's actually scored against England for the CIS back in 1992 in a match in Moscow. Sheringham leaving it to Lasso. Shikradze fogging Lasso's footsteps. Plenty of talk about Graham Lasso and his club future. Flyer does get a free kick this time.
Quality, they've got it in show as well. Beckham, Lasso, take your pick, right or left foot. Plenty targets, all good headers of the ball. Adams, Campbell, Shearer, Sheringham. Take your pick.
It's Beckham who spins it in. That was very, very testing for Zoidze, the goalkeeper.
Well, he did well. That's a wicked ball in from David Beckham. I thought Alan Shearer was just going to get the slightest touch ahead of the goalkeeper. And any touch at all, and it's 1-0. Great ball in. One dummy, couple of dummies, and then he bends it in with the right foot. And that's how close Shearer comes to giving England a 1-0 lead. Well worked, good movement, good goalkeeping.
And then Sadze. A little bit late by Ince, but Georgia keeping possession, so there was no need for the referee to blow. Shaley. Initial ball by Skadadze. Shekhiladze taking a ride there on Shearer that made the referee's mind up very quickly. It's almost got it back from Shearer.
That's why I think Alan Shearer might just take a chance once or twice on that. Shekhiladze, the number 2 mark. He looks the smallest of all the defenders, and they're kind of playing zone. Shekhiladze playing right side, and Shaley is playing left. Whatever area Shearer goes into, one of those two are marking him. And I just think if England can get the ball wide on this right side and angle it towards Shearer, well, I'd fancy him to beat Shekhiladze in here 9 times out of 10.
On the ground, Shekhiladze nipping in. Ketsbaia buying himself and his team a little bit of time with a sharp turn. On for Ketsbaia. Adams was protesting that he didn't make much contact. Whether that was a genuine reaction or designed to make sure the referee didn't reach quickly for the top pocket, get a clue here.
Well, he didn't touch him at all.
Touch him, no.
I think Ketsbaia, he plays for the free kick, there isn't a doubt about that. I mean, I think it's just as well it did go over, because having poked the ball past Tony Adams, there went an awful lot of white shirts behind him.
Machavariani. Arveladze, one of a pair of identical twins in this Georgia squad. Happily, only one of them starting the game. Shearer. Sheringham, shrewdly. Back to Batty. Beckham. Ince joining Sheringham in the centre. Out by Skadadze's head.
See, that's the ball I'd like to have seen angled to the far post, Martin, and Beckham had it. Because Shearer was definitely fancied him from there. They're a little bit incensed with this tackle. I mean, I don't think David Beckham, in all honesty, does an awful lot wrong here. In fact, he pulls out and again doesn't make any contact. But like many European players, he rather made the most of it.
Yes, Beckham rather betrayed his international experience by getting involved in the argy-bargy, because he's got a yellow card to his name already, actually picked up in Georgia. So he needs to stay clear of trouble tonight, otherwise another caution and he would miss a very tough next game in England's group away to Poland. So Beckham and take on Machavariani, who's not the quickest defender. He's done well to find Ince, and there's a chance here for England and for Teddy Sheringham.
Well, you put money on that. Sheringham, give him that cross another 9 times, and Teddy Sheringham will hit the target every single time. He's disappointed. Beckham did beautifully here, and this is a peach of a cross from Paul Ince. It's exactly where you'd want it. It really is an unchallenged header. The challenge comes in after the header's been made, and Teddy Sheringham doesn't need me to tell him he should be hitting the target from 6 yards out. Great chance for England.
Batty barrelling into Arveladze. Kimpladze with plenty of licence to roam. Arveladze, they've lost the ball and they're a defender light at the moment. Georgia, as Graham Rousseau carries the fight forward for England and forces a corner. Out comes Tony Adams, whose last England goal was back in 1988.
This is a threat. Anytime you face England, and anytime they have a corner, they've got really good attacking players in the middle.
Shearer, tucked back to him by the right foot of Lasso. Georgia's got a break on the right-hand side. A pass from Arveladze, keeping the prospects going here, because it's Kinkladze attacking England. Shaley has come up as well in free play. The defender had the cross been tucked in towards the far post from Jamarauli.
I think they're happy to see this ball drift out. Again, it's a lovely break, so quick and incisive. Just overplays it. Jamarauli. Is that how you pronounce it? Am I getting close? There. Am I getting there?
You're getting there. Kinkladze, stick with him for the moment.
He's easy. The number 8 was unlucky.
Batting. Sheringham. Beckham. Maybe Beckham's clubmate Gary Neville was supporting, but Beckham turning away to try and be a little bit more progressive for England, and it's produced corner on Beckham's side of the pitch.
Yeah, they're not bad this side when anything's played in from right to left. If it's a little bit narrow, and they have got Shaley and Skadadze to deal with it. Now, I'm not so sure the other side of Skadadze, if they could cope.
So it's David Beckham's corner for England. Shearer's header. Well, he's missed, 2.5 months of the season. He's still the Premier League's leading scorer.
That's a good jump, good leap. Always under pressure, to be fair. But again, it's promising when you play crosses and corners in and your players are winning them. And Glenn Hoddle won't be too disappointed.
Adams very much the senior man in the back three, with Neville and Campbell, both 22-year-olds either side of him.
I think what they've done early on, Martin, and it's nice to see, is Gary Neville's pushed Beckham on a bit. Early in the game, Kitsbaya was just attracting David Beckham back, almost to a right-back area. I think that they only have the one up to mark, the three lads, and I think what Gary Neville's doing, he's just favouring the right side and saying to Beckham, will you play ahead of Kitsbaya?
This time challenged by Jamarauli. So England certainly getting plenty of chances in the opening 20 minutes or so to put the ball into the Georgian penalty area from dead ball situations. And with the good quality work that Glenn Hoddle's been able to enjoy over the past week, a real chance for the players to express themselves in this respect. Lasso takes it. Sheringham pulling away, it doesn't reach him. Actually, Skardadze got his head to it, wasn't quite sure where it was going to drop, but England weren't quick enough to the ball, but they've got possession back easily enough. Lee's pass for Beckham. Adams has stayed forward. Sheringham. Now batting. Everyone for Georgia behind the ball. Campbell. Inch set up well for him, and he might feel that he could have produced a more testing effort there. Adams crisply to the feet of Beckham. Crowd calling for an England breakthrough here. Shearer trying to supply it. In comes Ince. Well, he's getting into the right sort of places, but not providing the right sort of shots.
Well, with Batty in the side, that's what we said he could do. Get forward at will. I think this is probably the best chance of all. Look at the run he makes. He's got an awful lot of ground to catch up, and catch up he does. Perhaps just going away from him a little, looking to screw it back. Didn't really do anything apart from miss hit the shot. He's a little unlucky, Beckham. That's him. I'm not so sure he knew what he was doing, Mark. I think he let the ball go, but he could have had no idea Beckham was behind him.
Well, Masha Variani was the player who was called in at the 11th hour to start for Georgia tonight. No, he was not aware of what pace Beckham was arriving at.
He's a little frustrated, David Beckham, no wonder. If he'd have been able to read that situation, he just pinched the ball and gone away on his own. But I didn't see too much contact, I must be honest.
Well, they had to change their defensive lineup today, and now David Kipiani will be wondering whether a serious problem has befallen Machavariani, and that another change might have to be made during the game, relatively early in the game. Ince. Skardadze going in bravely, and importantly for Georgia, because Beckham was free on the right-hand side.
Yeah, that was a tackle he just had to win. With Machavariani off, David Beckham was an absolute acre. Collins could have nicked any little ball away. He would have been completely free.
Skardadze came up limping from that as well, and it was very important for his team that he got his foot to the ball. Back coming, had plenty of possession. Graham Lasso. Just running out of room on the far side. Probably preferred to Steve McManaman, who hasn't really done himself justice in his two opportunities this year. He started against Italy and against Mexico, was substituted both times. He's among the England options from the bench tonight. It's going to be an early change. Might well come from Georgia. We're still checking out Machavariani. Shearer, the second time, got it to Sheringham. Very nearly the move kept going into the feet of Lee. Run from Campbell, and the cross not too far away from his Tottenham clubmate Teddy Sheringham.
Great run. Takes a man from the back to just make a really forceful run. I think he plays a great ball in. That's absolutely a super ball across the face of the 6-yard box. Might just have taken Alan Shearer a little bit surprised. You don't often see Alan on his heels.
Georgia were about to make a substitution. Godriciani is waiting to come on, but David Kipiani very animated there, not getting the information he wants from his medical men about the player who's on the stretcher.
Well, he better get moving. He's going down the tunnel now. He won't be coming back for a while.
The game going on. With Kinkladze, Georgia with 10 men. There's Lasso. Battle. Now Beckham. Try and take on this depleted defence. Not deep enough. England, they keep the move alive with Batty. So, who's presented possession to Shamarauli. Don't want to play him fast here.
Now that'll be a booking, I think, Mark.
Well, so does get the yellow card, and that at least enables Georgia to bring on their first substitute.
You can see you can have absolutely no argument about that, Graham Lasso.
So Lasso is booked, and Godriciani, who was a substitute who came on in Tbilisi against England later in the proceedings, then comes on for Machavariani here. He's another of their Russian-based players. So he's gone to work on the right-hand side, and Shikradze, who probably would have started the game on the left had Lobjanidze not woken up ill this morning, is now on the left to try and rein in Beckham. Foul by Shearer. And then Sadze maximising the effect.
Oh, well done, referee. He wants you to get the ball down and get on with it. He's doing none of it. I mean, it's a nothing tackle, and how you can roll about in agony. I think the referee's quite right. Get the ball down, get on with it. Yeah, well done, sir. He puts it. Rolling over, quite right. Won't do that again.
Probably the biggest cheer we've had at Wembley today. The French referee, Remy Harel, booking Nensadze for ungentlemanly conduct. But England have got to be careful with their challenges here. They're so already cautioned.
Tell you why, Martin, because we talked about the technique that these boys have got, and they're also good and they've got great quick feet, that you think you can commit yourself to a tackle. Rob Wees, the one who's getting spoken to, I think it was his tackle just a minute ago, and I think you think you've got the tackle and you think you're going to make it, the next second the ball's away from you and you're totally committed. There's nothing you can do.
Gets by. Remember that England did concede the opening goal in both their World Cup group games here at Wembley. They came back against Poland, of course, but not against Italy. Batty. So setting off on another of those buccaneering breaks down the left. And Batty rolls the ball to his feet. Lee. Beckham's come in from the right-hand side. And England were a bit narrow then.
That's exactly what happened. When Beckham does that, they do get a little narrow.
Dogbishiani. And Georgia have got to 35 minutes with their goal intact.
To be fair, Mark, I don't remember Zoidza making too many saves. They had that little scramble punch when Alan Shearer went in near post from the free kick. Apart from that, I don't remember him making too many saves.
England have had opportunities and not hit the target. Sheringham's header into his close range effort, which was scuffed. And a couple from further out that were off the mark as well. Batty. There's Tony Adams playing the ball back for Beckham. Making good progress here. Lee trying to locate the ball as it drops beyond the far post, beyond Lee as well in the end. Rob Lee missed out on the Euro 96 finals. He was one of those players who was cut late by Terry Venables. Well, this Saturday night, a chance to remind you, Sky Box Office special pay-per-view event for fight fans, Naz against Hardy, and the information line 0990 800 888. Cleared by Shekhiladze. Beckett for England. Looking for a way through. To set them on their way to 3 so important World Cup points. Called out by Shamaouli with a fair amount of composure. And Sadze, so often his ally in midfield. Kinkladze, Batty going to try and nick it from him, but Kinkladze was too crafty. And here's Dogbishiani. Really having to track back. Doing it effectively, and it ends as a goal kick. In a tight corner, Kinkladze's a good man to have around, isn't he? When the tackles seem to be certain for the England midfield men, he just manoeuvres himself and the ball out of trouble.
I think they all do that across that midfield area, Mark. I think they've got great feet. All of them are so comfortable receiving the ball under pressure. There's no surprise to see England totally dominating the action areas as well as possession.
Sheringham. Just doing enough for those challenges to stop the link-up that lit up England's Euro 96 campaign between the two men up top for Glenn Hoddle tonight.
Never easy at this level. Never easy against a talented side like Georgia. You've got to really earn it.
Beckham. Just sense that this is the way that England are going to find a way through down Beckham's side of the pitch, where they've been chopping and changing Georgia. Shikradze, who's been moved across since the substitution, gives away the free kick.
Again, this might be the left footer's turn. Might be Lassau's turn, just to arc this one in with a little bit of pace. There's a big gap there in front of Teddy Sheringham. Wouldn't mind seeing that fizzed across there.
He leaves it for Beckham. This is Sol Campbell. After Sheringham had gone in, and the shot flew off target from Rob Lee.
Well, he hits it well enough. Not so sure what Sol Campbell sees of this. Player goes up in front of him. He does well to block it out there. Sheringham actually goes with a header. That's as well struck as you're going to get from Rob Lee. He does hit this really well. Not got a lot to aim at. Just watch the target. Where can he hit? That was about the only place he could have scored. He came very, very close to doing it.
Funny enough, looking at Rob Lee's work in the Premier League, he's often started seasons well and not carried it on over the second part, but this season he's come good in the latter months. Times he's had the responsibility of leading Newcastle. Shikradze gets booked for knocking the ball away. Suddenly it's a busy evening for the French referee. He's shown the yellow card 3 times. Got in the way of the taking of the free kick to Georgia's number 10. Lovely touch down from Sheringham. The referee has pointed to what England think is a penalty, but he's booked Rob Lee for diving because it wasn't for a penalty, it was for a goal kick.
Well, you know Rob Lee. And I think this is, he gets caught. The boy launches bodily into it, and when he pokes the ball away, I think that's one of those decisions a referee makes. It could go either way. It wouldn't have surprised me if the French referee had pointed to the spot, having decided not, and he's obviously decided Rob Lee has dived. That's the reason the yellow cards come out, but it could quite easily have gone the other way.
And look, Lee and Fabriciani getting caught up with feelings running high on that far side. Both waved a foot unnecessarily.
But they didn't have back off at that free kick, Georgia, and Tony Adams just played a lovely little dink ball into Teddy Sheringham. Absolutely no one got near Rob Lee.
Batting. Here's Lassau. And Lee, no one's near him again. Ince goes near post. Oh, the ball comes off the frame of the goal to Beckham. It hits Shikradze. David Batty is there. Back in again from Lassau. Shearer knows where Beckham is and puts it in towards Ince, who's put one in that fashion before at Wembley in his Manchester United days, but not from that distance this time.
Pity. I mean, Rob Lee, he's not looking to score here. He picks it up brilliantly, looking for the back post, and he just comes so close to dropping in at the far end. And from then on, well, Georgia really were all over the place trying to clear this. And it's just a pity that Paul Ince opted for the overhead. Could have kept the pressure on, taken it down. David Batty was just backing him up. It'd been good if they could have kept pressure on. And that's twice in a matter of minutes that Rob Lee has found himself in acres in that inside left position. And now Shearer's in there.
And Sheringham's in there! And Shearer and Sheringham combine played off.
Well, he missed one early, Teddy Sheringham, but he was never going to miss this. They can't say they haven't been warned, Georgia. That's a great run across the face from Alan Shearer. And this is as good a ball, early, delivered into an attacking area that you want to see. He knows exactly what's required if you're a front man. One touch, quick look, ball in front of Sheringham's run, and he wasn't going to miss this. An absolutely perfect header from Sheringham. Power, direction, goalkeeper no chance.
Well, there was a lot of joviality in the England camp between Alan Shearer and Teddy Sheringham about why they got on so well together. And Alan said, well, Teddy will always pass to me if I'm in a better position. And Alan Shearer was also asked, would he do the same? But the response, of course, was that Shearer is much more likely to go for goal himself. But in that position, he produced the perfect cross. It was matched by the perfect header, and England get the perfect tonic right on half-time.
It gives you an idea, Mark, what the front two are all about. Two great runs, different runs. Shearer's run was to provide a target for the pass. That was what his run was all about. And Sheringham's was a true striker's run.
And look at the two of them there, just acknowledging that the partnership is back in business.
I mean, much is made of Teddy Sheringham's pace or lack of it, but you don't need to be quick, Martin, over 2 or 3 yards.
Well, as Shearer himself said, Teddy's first 2 yards are in his head. And this is Gary Neville. Well, here's Tony Adams. Off goes Shearer.
I don't think he's brilliant, Chikaladze, Martin, I have to say. I don't think he relishes anyone going in that side. The goal came actually at the best part of the match for England. Rob Ray had twice gone in down that side, in that area, totally free and threatened. And the third time, Shearer and Sheringham didn't have punished him. Super goal, I have to say, great goal.
I thought you'd say your sort of goal.
I love it, it's brilliant goal, honestly. Movement was superb, all over.
Well, scored by the thinking man striker, supplied by every man striker. Shearer. And here's Teddy Sheringham. England want more before the half-time whistle go. They've got to be alert to Arveladze here. There's one-on-one with Adams. Campbell scurrying back. Arveladze getting past Adams, but not getting the support in the centre. Ketsbaia was trying to get there. Well, wrap across the knuckles for England.
Van Orde won't be happy, Mark. They go 1 up, you've worked for 40 minutes to get in the lead, and then you leave yourself 1 against 1 at the back. I mean, that's crazy. Crazy. No need to rush now. I mean, I think the game is there now for England to win it.
Well, England going to tremendous applause at Wembley. Just a moment to remind you all, we've got 49 European nations competing in 9 groups for 14 places. The 9 group winners automatically qualify, plus the best second-place nation. You have to have a degree in higher mathematics to work out who that best second-place nation is. But suffice to say that more goals scored in any victory will help, so that's an important factor for England. Important for Georgia is that Kinkladze is still in the tunnel.
Well, there are 10 outfield players there, Martin. He can't come on now, surely. That means we've got 11 outfield players. Am I maths wrong, Mr. Tyler? Count those red shirts.
One assumes...
Ah, there he's gone off. Number 15. You'll tell me who that is. He's gone to the edge.
Well, they've thought about a change, maybe, I don't know. David Kipiani has kept Kinkladze in the game anyway, but he made rather ginger progress out from the tunnel. A belated arrival for the second half. England finished the first half in style after some anxious moments. And Teddy Sheringham's goal is the difference between the two sides with the second half now underway. And it's Sheringham's header. This is Beckham. Batty. Ince. Fine piece of retrieving for Georgia by Ketsbaia. Ketsbaia has continued his run to the right of Arveladze. Kinkladze moving more freely once he's given the ball. Jamaraouli. Still Jamaraouli weaving his way through, and England worried then by the ambition of the Georgian midfield player.
I think he tried to do too much. I think he's through here. I think that's brilliant skill. And then he just overdoes it. Wants to beat one man too many. That gave Tony Adams a chance just to come over and close him out.
Kinkladze has come up. Shelia as well. Kinkladze takes the corner. I'd be surprised if England were undone in that manner, even taking into account the quality in the supply that Kinkladze can generate. Goes out of Grishiani. Just to complete the story of how this qualifying has been constructed by FIFA, I talked about the group winners going through and the best second place nation. The remaining 8 runners-up are drawn into 4 pairs. Play home and away, that's next autumn, and the 4 winners go to France. It's been made more complicated, of course, by the growth of the new nations, the ending of the Soviet bloc, and so many independent countries like Georgia coming into the World Cup reckoning. Has been flexing what might be a strained leg muscle. Gary Neville might be flexing his arm muscles here. We know about his long throw. Oh, almost reached Shearer directly. The goalkeeper had to be very positive then, and he came out and caught it.
He's done all right in that respect, the goalkeeper tonight. He's come and had to deal with a couple of things in awkward areas. This is almost like a corner here from Gary Neville. He really does fizz that in. I think he's looking for Sheringham, but too much on it.
So with his right foot was a weak back pass, and Grishiani had an opportunity to strike Georgia's first ever World Cup goal and put himself into immortality in his own country, but David Seaman showed why he's reckoned so highly in this country. Lee crosses. Beckham is there. On his weaker foot, a very weak moment from Graham Rousseau, but Ince off the head of Sheringham. Shearer can't get to that.
Well, what a let-off for Graham Rousseau in England there. That's a glorious opportunity. So often, at every level you see this. Just so under-hit. David Seaman did everything he could, got caught a bit in no man's land. Look at the goalkeeper, but he comes all the way. He didn't stop, he came, he spread himself. He did his job very, very well indeed.
Yes, England fans again will be echoing their welcome back. Arveladze. Jamaraouli. Unfortunate for both Ian Walker and David James that their call-up this year into England's goal rather coincided with dips in their club form. And David Seaman, the senior statesman he is amongst goalkeepers, has had some consoling words with both those two who ability, of course, is not in question. And learn from the difficulties that they have had in recent times. Gets by. Another classy turn. Arveladze. Well, it's very easy on the eye, the build-up, and very difficult to defend against.
Well, just one or two things, Mark, that they are going to show a little bit more interest going forward. Again, it's lovely passing and movement, I have to say. Again, the goalkeeper has to be so aware.
Free kick for England and Shearer. Against Chalier.
They've actually changed a little bit, the Georgians. He's moved to number 7. And then Zadze back into the defensive unit. He's been tracking about Terry Sheringham most of the second half, but he's dropped into what I would call the back 5. And they've actually pushed Shekeladze, the number 2, who I thought was a bit of a weak link when he played in there, wider onto the right-hand side.
We talked about England maybe being surprised by the way Georgia set out their strategy. Just had a feeling, talking to some of the Georgian players, that they expected to be dealing with Steve McManaman tonight. Dobriciani. Here's Kinkladze. A very well weighted pass into a clever little run from Shota Arveladze, who scored a hat-trick in his last game for Georgia.
Well, you're seeing examples of why they've got to be vigilant, what Glenn Hoddle was talking about, because of the little runs and the passes and their awareness. Very good in that top third.
Strong there in dispossessing Lee was Ketsvaya, two who might become club mates next season. Skardadze, up by Chalier, rather forcefully made Shikradze turn. England winning the ball well forward through Batty. One from Beckham to Sheringham. Shearer coming late this time, but Beckham is there! And he's denied his first England goal by a sprawling kind of save from Soigze, but an effective one.
Well, Terry Sheringham's got absolutely no one to aim to here when Beckham plays him through. It's rather scuffed back to Beckham, but you really fancied him to really put some power. Hit it into the ground, that's much, much better than skying it for sure. And that gave the goalkeeper a chance just to scramble it away.
Beckham's corner. That was Campbell, that was Ince. And that was very nearly 2-0 England.
Well, how did that stay out?
Sheringham. Pretty useful challenge there by Lee, because England had committed a good number of players upfield. England came very close a few seconds ago.
I'm not so sure who gets the block here, Martin. Is it Tony Adams that actually stops it? I think it is. I think it's Tony Adams who actually gets in the way of Paul Ince's little toe poke towards goal.
Ketsvaya expressing himself here forcefully. Also Georgia emulating what England did at the other end and stopping a potentially goal-bound shot themselves. Shearer, combination of man and ball, Skardadze made contact with. But Ketsvaya really accelerating through England's midfield.
Well, this is a tackle. I think he's a little unlucky. They say about defenders, take everything. He certainly took everything. Ball, Shearer a lot there.
Beckham to bend it in. Sheringham no more than help it on. But Georgia have given plenty of notice in this second half that they're not going to go down here at Wembley without a fight. David Kipiani, the coach, has taken some of the shackles off his strategy, conceding that goal just before half-time.
Yeah, I said to you at half-time, what would be interesting, they were neat and tidy in the midfield area and their little passes and moves were good there, but not threatening. I said to you, I wonder what's going to happen in the second half if they take that passing and movement 30 yards further forward to the edge of England's box.
Sheringham kept it in with the help of the corner flag. So then pushing on. Visitors to Wembley tonight, maybe more room will open up for England to counter-attack at their own ground.
It becomes a game then, doesn't it? A game that we're used to seeing. Somebody attack, there's plenty to play now. And this is as open as this game has been.
Here's Rob Lee. It's given away by Kinkladze to Ince. Control by Ketsbaia, who's doing his personal cause no harm at all. Msadze. Kinkladze showing no sign of the injury that threatened to keep him out of the second half.
Well, he's on his own here. No wonder he's had to come back. Absolutely no one within any range.
Kinkladze getting another touch. It is Yamarauli. Trying to go around the outside, across comes Campbell with pace and power. Made a challenge like that at an important stage very early in the first half.
Well, this is a game now, it's certainly more pleasing on the eye. It's flowing. I'm not so sure that Glenn Hoddle wants that sort of game. He'd rather if it was shutting up shop and just keeping it tight in possession.
They can't control Ketsbaia with any great ease at the moment. Overdid it with Georgian number 9 that time. Ince. So couldn't control it. Here's Kinkladze. Arveladze ahead of him. Msadze moving from midfield. Ketsbaia on the ball. Currently plays in Greece for AEK Athens. He's told them he's going to wait to the end of the season before deciding his future. He's taken the opportunity in visiting England to talk to Newcastle. Meaningful talks, I understand. Lee. Graham Rousseau. Well, we talked about his right foot being weak in the under-hit back pass. It was more than useful that time.
It's a right peg swinger. It's a lovely ball from Robert Lee, absolutely beautifully weighted. It was always going to be difficult. It was really going to have to bend. Skadadze didn't do much wrong as a defender. He got his body in front. But there's one thing changed as half-time, Mark. We talked about England dominating possession. Oh, you look at this now. Now that's total opposite. That's Georgia enjoying an awful lot of the ball.
Yamarauli. And Ketsbaia has been central to that improvement. It's gone out though. No one wants to finish off Peter Beardsley's great career, but do you see a possible successor in the way Ketsbaia is playing, in a Beardsley way?
He's certainly got ability, the boy, there's no doubt about that, Martin, and he can certainly run with the ball at his feet and trouble people.
Here's Rousseau. Behind David Batty, who suddenly found himself in a central striking position. But this is a very interesting battle indeed, because Georgia found some muscles to flex in the second half. Took some pace and penetration around their undoubted talent. Looking to link up with Arveladze. Msadze was there, and England grateful to see the ball run back towards David Seaman. Towering header by Skadadze. Ketsbaia. Campbell stepping in, trying to restore some order for Glenn Hoddle's team here. We know they're in a game, even though they lead it by 1-0 approaching the hour mark. Becker too much on it for Shearer. There's always is a Georgian midfield player, wanting the ball to feet, accepting the responsibility. He goes with the possession. Sibadze. Now Ketspire. Finding it hard to get a foothold in the centre of the pitch at the moment. Fabriciani. Given away by Shekiladze. Kinkladze. Still Kinkladze, the sort of weaving run we've seen so often in the colours of Manchester City. Fabriciani couldn't quite take it on the turn. Apparently just flexed that damaged hamstring again and struggling to the bench.
He's struggling, Kinkladze. I think that's probably good news for England. If that's the run that's put paid to his performance. That was a lovely little cameo of what he's all about. That lovely little run, great balance, enticing people into the tackle and then just skipping past them.
Well, he has to go off. There's some talk that he will leave Manchester City after this season. He stayed for a year as he promised Francis Lee to try and help them back into the Premier League. And he's going to be replaced now by Gaho Kidze, who won his only cap as a sub for Kinkladze last month against Armenia. Well, that is a shame for Georgia, but they're not a one-man team. Had one early at the start of the second half. 3-3 I'm hearing in corners. Chikladze, goalkeeper's ball.
Well, they must have played him as well as that one, because I don't remember any of the other two either.
Becker. That's been able to at least make a challenge for it, and Ince having to play on the retreat. Adams, a little bit sloppy, almost a chance to be seized by Fabriciani, who's taken a heavy tumble. Good movement here, well up the pitch again by Lasso. He was actually picked out by David Kipiani as one of the England players he was particularly concerned about. Batic. With Adams. He's point certainly not in England's bag yet. Despite the goal and the crescendo of play towards half-time. Not been able to strike the same sort of note in the second half. A compliment to the way Georgia have addressed themselves in the second half, where it hasn't happened as much as England deficiencies. Sheringham to drop very, very deep to try and become the fulcrum of something more coordinated for England. Batic. Back with Adams. A bit of keep ball from Glenn Hoddle's team this time. Sheringham trying to make sure it's more than just keeping the ball. There's progress in the move as well. Beckham. Batic. Now Lasso using Robley, who settles for the corner.
Just what England needed, Mark, as well. Lovely piece of possession.
What they would dearly love now is a second goal to just settle this second half down. And looking to supply it from a short corner back to Lasso. Campbell climbing and well, it's run behind. Nemsadze lost his bearings for a moment.
Well, it could have dropped anywhere. He gets a little lucky. The ball's just a little heavy from Rousseau. He has time to pick out one or two. Tony Adams pulls away. Could easily have dropped anywhere.
Another David Beckham corner with 20 minutes played in the second half. England leading 1-0. Sheringham let it run that time. Towards Ince. Shearer. Agonisingly away from Sheringham again.
Well, how he wished he just pulled it a little bit more. It was always going to be a difficult shot from this kind of angle. He's coming away from goal on his left side. Goalkeeper's got a good position, but he screws that any further across goal, and Teddy Sheringham's just slotted it in. Only a yard away.
So is it just beaten the once. Georgia do have a tremendous youth policy through Dinamo Tbilisi, where they have some 500 youngsters working under expert tuition. A similar feel to their setup to the great Ajax Academy, and it's producing players of this type. Maybe they lack the physical force of England. Technically very, very adept.
I just wonder, would he fancy it, young Beckham, from about this range? He certainly looks as if he means business.
Georgia puts 3 in the wall. Plenty of space for Beckham to get it up and down. Well, the goalkeeper didn't move.
And it didn't get up very high. Didn't. I'm not so sure whether it went round the wall, through the wall. But had it been on target, goalkeeper's beaten. He's absolutely rooted. Well, he ducks. There's a great example of bravery on the wall, isn't it? You can bet your life if that was an England wall, someone would have headed that away. It hadn't, but wouldn't be ducking.
From Beckham. Shearer's gone to the right. Lee coming into the centre. Rob Lee, well watched. But he was very nearly in the perfect place. Shekiladze's had a pretty eventful night and not an always successful one. Defended superbly here.
This is brilliant defending, because once again Shearer, who is associated with scoring goals, provides an absolute peach of a cross. She's begging to be finished. And would have been, but for some great defending.
This is off the head of Paul Ince. There is a Man of the Match award tonight, and it's your vote that decides it. 0891 111101. Please give us a call. Asserting himself, just getting the pass to Batty. He was the man of the match when the countries last met. Beckham. Crowded out though.
Paul Ince took a little bit of time to get back up after winning that ball back. He's struggling round about the halfway line at the moment.
Lads there. Jamarau. England could still have a very anxious last 15 minutes here. Shikradze. the game up. Samarauli. Out by Namsadze. Samarauli with the run that's produced a tired-ish looking tackle from Ince, who, as Andy was saying, was limping a moment or two ago.
That's a lovely run. Just driving between the two midfield players.
Well, maybe England will feel fortunate that Kinkladze's gone off in this situation, and David Kipiani wanting to actually substitute one of his substitutes. Griciani, who came on early in the game, is replaced by Achille Arveladze, the younger of the two twins, by a matter of 3 minutes, I'm told. Also arriving later than his brother into the game. Now will they try and work a way through here, or fashion a strike at David Seaman's goal? Petspire is on the ball. They're going to have to be on their mettle. Shalia. Well, it was a strike at Seaman's goal. It was deflected, and Georgia have a corner. They were a bit bashful at sending players up earlier in the game at their corners, but surely they'll do that now.
Good pressure from Ince on the ball. A great example. If you were picked to charge it down, you charge it down.
Taylor and Skardadze. This is Skardadze! Oh, it's straight to the top of the bar. And that's how close they came to pegging England back.
Well, I don't know if David Seaman would have been able to do an awful lot about this had it been 6 inches lower. He wouldn't have been. He's beaten. The England goalkeeper's beaten here. They don't quite clear the corner. It just drops. Skardadze just takes a touch, and that's a great strike.
And David Kipiani, who's had some great results as a player against clubs like Liverpool and West Ham, looking for the national team to spring a real surprise here. Paul Ince has to give in to that injury, and Liverpool's Jamie Redknapp comes on with some 12 minutes to go.
I think the words there when he walked on, Martin, just looking at Jamie Redknapp, the shout was play four, and I think that's sensible. I think they're going to play with the back four now. You'll see Graham Lasso playing more as a left back. I'm pretty certain that was what Jamie Redknapp's instructions were to the rest of them when he came on.
So Neville at right back, Adams and Campbell, Lasso on the left. Redknapp and Batty trying to screen in the middle in front of them. Rodley's gone to the left, Beckham to the right, Sheringham to support in midfield if another player is required in there, and it might be. Glenn Hoddle's team not home and dry in this fixture yet. But they're on the ball in midfield again with Petspire. Namsadze, Shekiladze, Petspire again. It's a nervy finish for England at Wembley. Shota Avaladze. Petspire couldn't take it on. The shot was from Kapokidze. England a study in anxiety at the moment. Kapokidze again. The chip ball that's a bit too high for Avaladze. Rodley being encouraged by the crowd to get the ball out of harm's way. It's gone up. This Saturday night, remember, this Saturday night, Sky Box Office special pay-per-view event for fight fans. Nazim Hamed against Hardy tops the bill. The information line 0990 800 888. Special event for you this Saturday. Gareth Southgate looking to answer England's call here at a very vital time. Georgia giving their utmost to make a major piece of footballing history in their own country and stop England enjoying the result here, even if in the end they won't be looking back with too much enjoyment on the way the actual football match has gone. Tony Adams, who's still got this damaged ankle, is under constant attention from Gary Lewin with both Arsenal and England. And he doesn't finish the game, and Gareth Southgate is in there alongside Sol Campbell now. And Campbell straight away has to head forward. Southgate needing to help keep it solid for England in these closing moments. Lee showing great energy. Beckham, Sheringham, Lee's kept going. Great football from England. Rob Lee with Shearer in the centre. Had to really stretch into the cross, but the quality in the move was of a true international standard, but England haven't been able to play like that very often in the second half. Ketsvaya. Campbell is there. Couldn't prevent the corner and was just, I suppose, in some peril of trying to keep it in play, knocking it back into play for Ketsvaya, who was following up rapidly. And Georgia have a corner. 90 seconds to go. And England are sweating here. The two Arveladze twins there. And a whole posse of Georgian players in the centre, and the corner doesn't give them any chance really of reaching it. It was rescued by Gary Neville's clearance.
We're happy to see that, another poor corner.
Jamaraouli. Well, there's a chance for us to tell you about the man of the match, Andy.
Well, I said I thought he played well tonight, and so do the viewers think he played well. I can't argue with that.
The green flag man of the match is Sol Campbell.
I think that shows you how hard that England have had to work, Martin. You get a defender here at Wembley being man of the match. You know, you've had to do something.
England have got a free kick, and don't forget, Italy against Poland from Naples coming up for you on Sky Sports when we finish here at Wembley tonight. Beckham. Well, that will suit the England cause again, not just the fact that it's a free kick their way, but it will take a bit of time of the taking. Scorer of the game's only goal, picking himself up.
I'll keep ball now for England, I'd suggest. No point going forward. And I think there's a lot of people, you can pick the bones out of performances, any performance, and a lot of people might do that, but I think the bottom line for England tonight was they came into a game knowing that nothing else but victory was going to do. And I think having achieved that, you take it. And I think that the players in there have done the job that's been required. They'll play better at international level, no doubt about that, but they might not always get the result that matters.
Rob Lee looking to improve the results. Still Lee. And so it's it.
Well, that's a free kick. That's a free kick. He's just poked it back to the goalkeeper, Martin. Sorry there. As the goalkeeper made an excellent save from Lee. I think we'll find one of the defenders just actually nudges the ball back. He had absolutely no need to. But he just nudged the ball back into the goalkeeper's arms. Referee spot on. Saw it really quickly. And he's given a free kick to England.
Here is a real opportunity to end the evening in style.
Well, they've got to go on the line, it's as simple as that.
Referee
Got to get them back.
There's no option but to get them onto the line. To get them they can't go the full 10 yards, you can see that.
Is it direct, Mark? Is his arm going up? One of those free kicks, are they direct?
It has to be indirect, otherwise it would be a penalty.
Good lad.
Yes. So it's going to take a touch from somebody, or it might well be worth having the blast.
I've always thought that.
Getting a flick off.
Deflection. Yeah.
A defender on the way in. He wouldn't have time to get out of the way. That might be in Alan Shearer's thinking here, or Teddy Sheringham.
Yeah, he'll get booked. swap charges now. If he does that again.
It's back for Shearer, 2-0 to England. The points are in the bag now. And again, it's Sheringham and Shearer.
Great free kick. Absolutely brilliantly thought out. Just stinked it back to open it up a little bit for Alan Shearer. And what power and precision. He's tried picking a spot here. Look at it, it's in front of Shearer. That's brilliant, but look at that. That's past the goalkeeper before he can move. He's beaten by sheer power. That's a super free kick, it really was.
Well, it ends on a real high. The shot rifling into the roof of the net. The game is over. England have the points safely secured, although there were moments of uncertainty in the second half. Glenn Hoddle finishes a happy man. Happy to have Shearer and Sheringham back in their partnership, which has produced both goals. A World Cup double over Georgia by identical scores. And you can look at it this way, that England are still in control over their own destiny. 3 wins in the last 3 games, albeit Poland away and Italy away, with Moldova at home sandwiched between the two, but that does guarantee finishing top of the group. Not easy, but not out of the equation. Teddy Sheringham close to half-time, but it wasn't the prelude to a dominating second half from England. All credit to Georgia for their part in that, but they were caught out by the free kick conceded for the back pass, and Alan Shearer slammed in the second from Sheringham's roll back. Georgia opponents tonight might yet be out